Alright, so welcome back to a dull, gloomy, wet, horrible 29th of March. The skies are grey, overcast. It's after been pouring rain here for the last 2 hours non-stop, and it's just wet all the time. Places is absolutely drenched. We got the good weather at the wrong time. Although it was handy for getting slurry and things out, it's just we've had too much rain and it does not feel like spring at all now. It feels like we're in early January, that type of weather, because it's cold as well. But look at it, hopefully will pick up because everything's going to be later this year now. Fertiliser, we just can't go into our fields. The fields are too wet. Cows are all back in and happy to be back in. They're not roaring to get out or anything, apart from one that just roared before I turned on the camera. They're content where they are. But unfortunately this morning, before we start today's video, it's a sad day on our farm, and because about an hour and a half ago I got a phone call to tell me that my aunt, who was also my godmother, passed away just there literally a couple of hours ago. I'm after coming out from telling my father she was his sister, so you know how the way the thing goes. My family's there now, and I just said I'd take myself out of the house. I'll just get into the work and keep going on and doing things because jobs have to still go on. Anyway, these calves, I took off the jackets of the red one, this black one here, and two black ones there. Well, one threw the jacket off it back a few days ago anyway, but the other two are, well, maybe that 22 I'll take the jacket of it, but I won't take it off today, nor the one on the far side. They're a little bit smaller. I'm not going to take any jackets off when I'm moving calves. I'll wait for a day or so until they acclimatise in this house. But this is where I'm going to put them, because I've outgrown where they are. And I'm just going to heavily bed this now with straw, take any bits and pieces in it out of it. I'm away to get a bale of hay this evening. I'm out of hay now, typical. But we're going to put in some straw, set their feeders up, get them in here, and then we're going to move the calves above, down in their place, and then we're going to move the calves that are in the small, what I call the maternity ward, up into their place. So we're moving everything around, so hopefully it'll make things a little bit easier for us. That should sit there like that. Hopefully they'll not give me too much hassle because they're big and strong and I don't want to wrestle around with them too much. Gonna clean out the drinker here. There's about rusty water and stuff on it. Just been sitting over the winter time. But the valve's probably gonna have to be changed. It's working, but not great. Ah, that's better. Turning on to be a start. There's a bale up here in the calving pen. I have to move that later on. I only left it in here last night because Sinead went away and got two bales for me. The other one's sitting up there, and that one just has to be moved out of the way, but it's alright for now. Here now, I have to get this shed all cleaned out and ready for the calves to come down here. That's us ready for another batch of calves. I do have to scrape sometimes with the shovel. It's very dry in here and stuff can be very sticky. It doesn't sweep. Around here, just be a wee bit wetter because I stand here more of the time. You might have remembered on another video where we talked about the black dung that the calves was doing. I was inundated with messages about that. Farmers all over the country and in different countries as well. And apparently, it's a lot more popular than I imagined. I had never seen it before. But it could be all just down to a simple fact of being too much iron in the milk replacer. And I have to actually agree with that. We use an additive, it's called milkshake. I suppose a lot of people use different additives in milk replacers. We only started using it last year because a neighbour of ours told me about it and I just started using it. It's grand. I think calves do better on it. So a few farmers said it could be it that's doing it. They seen that with their calves. But a lot of other farmers said it could be just a high concentrate in iron. And change your milk replacer or go to once a day feeding and I guarantee you'll see the change. So we did go to once a day feeding shortly after that video was made. And that video was filmed about 3 weeks ago. So the 3 weeks now, roughly 3 weeks on once a day feeding and dung is perfect. It cleared up in no time. So that's, I think, what it was. Just too much iron in the milk replacer. If they change the milk replacer, go once a day, seems to solve their problems. So I just want to come back to that. Thankfully, no long-term problems like ulcers, which I did not want to have because that wouldn't be good news for our heifers. But thankfully it's not. Everything looks to be good now. So let's get these ones moved. Not like to come out of here. This sometimes gets a torture. They go around in circles, they don't want to leave the house. They're not used to going out there, they don't know what's out there, so you can't really blame them. So anyway, let's get one of these out. Don't bother them too much. One. Once one goes, you'll all go. Now you might follow, will you? One. Go on. Go on, there's one out there. Go on. No. Yeah, not easy. Oh, I left the door open with the cows. Oh, Jesus. I closed this gate, that means they can't go back. Get to this door. Come on, sucks. Go on. Shh. Go on, there's straw in front of you. That's it. Once one goes. Brilliant. Hello? Yes. Well, that's the trot in. I'll keep the same feeder down with them as well. I don't mix feeders from one calf to the other. I try to keep the same feeders for each batch of calves, just so you're not spreading in case there is any viruses and things there. It's limiting the chance of spreading it. Well, a small bit. Alright, so the next job is to clean this house out, take out all this bed and just the same thing again and bring some of the calves up from down below, only some of them that are a little bit bigger, and put them in here. So I don't fancy doing all this again, so I might just use this little trick that I learned a while back, and it's one of the best things. I don't know where, I can't even put up a link to where I got it because I forget now. It could have been on Amazon, but here goes. Oh, savage job. That's them up, and by the way, the noise you can hear, that's rain, pouring rain. But anyway, I'm after putting the jackets on. That calf there, that jacket's too big. Should have actually got that size. That's a smaller size in that jacket. I have a lot of big ones, and unfortunately I have even ones I haven't opened there that I might actually try to exchange for smaller ones, because they're the most desirable size that I find. These ones are just, well, it's on that calf, but it might be on that calf in the morning. They're all after coming out of the wash there. I did just wash them down when they come off other calves, and they were only dry there yesterday. So it's just ready in time for the next football match. But you can look at two aside, forwards and backs. This house is very good for calves. Never really have any scours in it, but when you get to this time of year now, where you're heading into April, you're practically in April, it's hard to believe it, but you are. It is a lot milder. This house is stuffy then. That's why we open these vents here. let the air circle out around a wee bit more. We open that door, leave it open as well, but be right, you don't want to have too many cows in here, certainly not a full house this time of year. So for them two, keep them up here beside the door, with the house then cleaned out as well, does away with any smell and things, and they should be grand. 1, 2, 3. There we have it. That's them two moved up there now. There's a small wee calf there, it's only very, very young. And these are all cleaned out now, limed, and that'll kill off any bacteria and stuff on them. I like the lime dries them out. Once it gets to sit for a while, it's amazing what it can do. Anyway, that's that job done, calves finished. That took a good few hours to do, and the click of the fingers is quite handy, but yeah. So we're in the workshop now, and the first thing you notice is the floor is painted. So this is the kind of only work I can do at night. There's nothing else we can do outside. So I horsed into this and got it all done. I have it wired, by the way. Everything's wired now. So we're wiring here and my fuse box in. I got a mate of mine to come round then and just have a quick look at it. But it's wired. We put up these lights here. Not sure if you can see them now. If I turn it off, you're not going to see anything. Now hold on a second. Maybe if I open the door. Right, well maybe you can see them now. So I installed them lights there. They're called a high beam or high raise light, I think they're called. Again, I only bought them locally. And them was there actually 200 watt a piece. Now, the reason I went with them, because there was the same ones in 100 watt, but they're actually dearer. The 100 watts were dearer than the 200 watts. But there is two separate wires on those, which I haven't wired yet, where you can put a dimmer switch on them. And when you turn your light then you can flick a little switch, or put a little turn knob switch on the wall there if you want, and you can turn them to whatever strength you want them. So I went with them instead. They're still an expensive light, but at the same time you have good light, good white light that will make it much easier to see things, especially if you guys are watching us make stuff maybe on videos, which I intend to do over the next little bit of while. That's what I intend to do in this workshop, is to build stuff. Simple little things that might work on the farm, like a wire holder or a yoke for unreeling wire. I want to build one of those, and I have a couple of other things I want to do. I used to do a lot of that when I was younger, just build my own stuff rather than buying anything, and I want to get back to doing that. And now that I have a place like this, I'll fit to hopefully share a few videos like that that you might actually enjoy. A bit of a little charge station here as well. So I can flick this switch. I have everything running to an extension lead at the back, and I can flick this little switch here and everything powers on. And I had these here, I bought on Amazon. I think I bought them a long time ago. They were very, very cheap, and that's just when your battery's charged, you can hook it off and you can hook it in there if you want. I probably never used them, but they were there and I said I'd just stick them on. But yeah, it just leaves everything in one place and look at organised a wee bit better. Another thing we done outside was I fitted this light because it's only a 50 watt LED light. That one there is on a sensor. But this one, I just wanted to have it on a permanent light you could turn on whenever you wanted. If you're working on a bit of equipment out here, this other one does flick on and off, which is annoying. If you don't wave your hand, it goes off very quickly. So that there would be just handy if you're ever walking out here, and I've already used it a couple of times at night here where it hasn't been raining, and it comes in very, very handy. In here, amongst all the rubbish, I run a wire through from the back socket in there, right straight through the wall, out to a socket here, and up, and then I put a socket in that corner, where I'm going to put my electric fence. I'm going to move it from the other house into here. And then I also wired in a switch here because our lights in this shed here were all coming from the other side. It was just two lights when this was all opened. So now we can flick the switch and we have our lights on in here, on and off. And finally, this is the table finished. Now, I'm going by what a lot of you guys mentioned. I do listen to what you say, and some of you have great ideas. And you can instantly see that I have a sheet of plywood on top of our stainless steel table that is bolted down to it. I've took these here out of our other shed and just put our little organisers on the wall there. Bits and pieces of random stuff there, which is handy. It's all at your hand. There's our tool rack, which you've seen, our tool organiser, and I just another sheet of plywood here. Put my wrenches on it, and just everything at your hand. It makes life a little bit easier. At the minute, I'm already working on my SDS drill, which decided to burn out the other day, so I have to strip it all down yet and pull these gears out of it. And hopefully this little thing here, which came from China, which most stuff comes from nowadays, is carbon brushes, which hopefully will solve the problem in this here, because it's a good little drill. It's done quite a bit of work, and it's not a brushless model, but the brushes are actually here, right in front of you, but you can't take them out unless you strip this whole thing down. So I'm hoping this will save me having to bother with another one. And €13, bit of labour, a bit of thinking, and we get that back up and running again. I might film, if any of you are interested in that type of stuff, I might film me fixing it and getting it back working again. So at the beginning of the video I did mention we had a loss in our family. It's been a few days now, and she was 92 years old. She lost her husband back in 2019, which took a lot out of her. And one of those married couples that you would always say to yourself, I hope I'm like that when I'm their age, because they were as close as the day they met. Yeah, that's just one of those things that happens on every place, unfortunately, as part of life. But we had that to kind of deal with, and that's why we had our video out last Sunday. But was back to business as always, because she was the type of person would always give out to me, especially if I wasn't doing things right, because she was watching our videos and she was always pick out the things that I wasn't doing right, not the things I was doing right. And she wouldn't be long picking up the phone, which she did several times, and give me a bit of an 8. But that was it. That was just the way she was, and she will be a miss, absolutely, 100%. But on that note, we'll leave it there. By the way, we have something down in the back of the yard that is wrapped in black plastic that came on a lorry here a couple of days ago, and that is going to be very exciting to use. But again, we have to wait till the land dries up before we get a chance to use it. To give you a hint of what it might be, well, it's green. It's not a John Deere. It does have wheels. Feel free to comment down. Be interested to see whether anybody gets it right. I don't think you will, but you might. You never know. But until that time happens, until the weather improves, we'll talk to you next one.